What's up, guitar friends? Back to jazz today. I'm going to do another rhythm changes lesson. So what we want to do today is the A section of rhythm changes, which is now usually in B flat. So the first measure is split up. It's a 1-6-2-5, B flat to G7 is the first measure. Second measure, C to F, 2-5, pulling back to the B flat, and then we repeat it again. And sometimes on the second time through, of course, we have D minor replacing the B flat, but that's for another lesson. So, but now right here is where we approach the 4 chord. So there's a measure of B flat, change to B flat 7, then the 4 chord, and then back to the B flat. Now that's a very simplistic kind of version. So there's several different things. For this first lesson, I'm just going to look at that first measure of B flat after the, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, all B flat. We'll just look at that at B flat, and then later I'll break it up into a 2-5. So it's a measure of B flat right there, and then it goes to the 4 chord, which is E flat, and right here it does a bunch of different things. I'm going to cover the 3 most common. Is to split the measure. The first way is like in a blues. You have the 4 chord, and then you go to sharp 4 diminished, which makes a chromatic line. So from E flat, then the E diminished, we have an E, and all the rest of the notes stay the same if you're playing an E flat 7. And then when it goes back to B flat, there's an F. So that kind of creates a... So that's one. The second way this measure is split, E flat, major 7, E flat major, whatever, and then change it to minor. You see this in some Parker solos. So E flat, that's 4 to 4 minor. It's very common if you think of it in the key of C. So then the 4 chord in C would be F, and then you go to F minor. You see that a lot in folkish. Beatles use it. That's in Magical Mystery Tour. And then the third way is to have a measure 2 beats of E flat and then 2 beats of the A flat. A flat 7. E flat, A flat. The A flat would be sort of replacing the E flat minor because those two go together in a 2-5. And that would be a 2-5 in D flat, but there's a backdoor 2-5 going to B flat that would be E flat minor, A flat 7. That's called the backdoor 2-5. I'll cover that at some point. So what we want to do is first we're going to take a bunch of licks, 14 lines. I have very basic stuff, but they're good for if you're new to trying to play over these changes. These are very basic lines that cover the changes. I'm going to stick to one position, which is this, right around this B flat 7 chord, or you could think of it as the B flat pentatonic minor area. Either way, and this sort of cliche line. So I'm just going to play them through numbered, and then for people who have questions, I'll just go over the lines. It's B flat, E flat, and then E diminished back to B flat. And so sometimes it'll be E diminished, sometimes E minor, and once in a while A flat. Alright, so going through these lines real quick, very straightforward stuff. First line. This is a common Bach phrase, and of course jazz, Parker and Art Tatum and so forth, starting on the third of the chord. So we got a B flat, and then playing, so there's the D, the third, F, the flat 7, and then skipping the root and playing the 9. That structure. Sometimes you'll see, well, we'll see variations, but, and then this is the straight B flat D arpeggio. Those two are often put together. E flat, major pent, E diminished 7 arpeggio, up to the third of B flat. So the E flat diminished arpeggio is a really good thing to play over the second half of that measure, E flat. And so the E diminished arpeggio is just any diminished arpeggio with E in it. So E, G, B flat, C sharp, or D flat, however you want to look at that. So I have a video on the diminished 7th arpeggios, how to cover them on the whole fretboard, and you know, every note is the root. So you're just thinking of some diminished 7 arpeggio with the root as either E, it's all like a family, B flat, D sharp, D flat, C sharp, and E. This is the E one, of course, so E is the I know best as, but so 2 beats of E flat, and then you can grab a couple and 2 beats of the diminished arpeggio, and that takes you right to some of the notes are already in B flat, like the B flat, or if you're on C sharp, you can just slide up to D for the major third of, you know, or if you're on the D flat, I just said that. If you're on the G, you could stay there, or walk down to F, or go, you know, there's all kinds of options. And then of course chromatic stuff, which I'm not really doing in this video, but every note is a minor third apart. So you get all those chromatic notes you can to mess around with. And I'll cover that at some point too, some chromaticism. I think I have done that. Some chromatic ideas with the diminished 7th arpeggio. So anyway, next, number 2, same thing. Same, starting from the 3rd and going to the 9. And this is another way to end it. This is you see this in Donnelly, in the Donnelly head, but it's in solos all the time. You play up to the 9, and then go back to the G, which would be the 6. And then the 5th, and that works over F minor or B flat. You can do a chromatic, you know, and then just come up with variations on it. So that's that. And then on the E flat in line 2, we're just doing a tetrachord, which is a great way to play to fill some. It's just an E arpeggio, E flat, G, B flat, with the F. So it's an E flat 9 arpeggio, you know, major, or add 9, I think you call it. But it's also called a tetrachord. It sounds way fancier than it is. Used heavily in giant steps, of course, but you could play rhythm changes with you know, B, G, or any substitution. C minor, F, that's kind of in. There's a lot of out ways to. There's a whole bunch, you know. I'll get to tetrachord at some point. E flat tetrachord to an E diminished arpeggio, and we end on the E. So we just walk up to F to get the B flat. There you go. Line 3. Same thing, same lick, dominant 9. This time it has the chromatic, and it's an octave up. And then on the E flat, we just are playing an E flat chord. Now here, just a little E flat minor. So E flat major, E flat minor. And then resolve to, so you got this. And this is a sort of a way of how you think chordally through these changes. You know, E flat major, then minor, and then they should B flat right there, or right there. You know, just picking notes from those little chords. Number 4 is actually based on a tetrachord from the A flat. So on a B flat 7, a lot of times you'll hear, you can play the tetrachord obviously from the B flat, but you can also play it from the A flat down a whole step. And one thing that's done is walking down the B flat bebop scale, which all that means is you're going from B flat through the major 7 to the flat 7. B flat, A flat. That's essentially the bebop scale. So I'm starting it up here from the D, the major 3rd, and walking down to the A flat. So that's a good lick. Then you get to the A flat and you walk up a tetrachord. Oops. There it is. And then on the E flat, just some chromatic, just chromatic through the G, G flat, F, E. And then diminished. Diminished 7, E diminished 7. And then a B flat swing-ish lick. Okay, number 5. Let's see what we got. B flat 7, variation on the same stuff I've been doing. And then on the E flat, same chromatic idea. Into a E diminished, just 3 notes from it. And then back to B flat. Notice the floating 3rd here. Flat 3rd to major 3rd. Gives a real cool sound. It's a very swing kind of sound. Next, alright, bebop scale down the B flat arpeggio, but then when we get to the B flat, we walk down and then we're jumping down to the major 3rd and filling it in. Very common interval jump there. And that flat 7 of the B flat drops to G, major 3rd of E flat. We just go up the major 7, 9 arpeggio, and then an E flat minor arpeggio, E flat minor 7 arpeggio, and then we're back to B flat. Here I kept it going as if this were the first time through. So when we went back to the B flat, you'd have B flat, G7, C, F7, that kind of thing. Just major pent, or B flat 7, little chromatic stuff, basic lines. Arpeggio on the E flat, up to the E. Notice the arpeggio stays the same, just the bass moves. That's E diminished is just the E flat arpeggio with the bass up 1. And that sounds cool to play that. Sounds good to the ear. Oh, yeah. Double stops. Just like, from that song. As a B flat lick, it's just Mixolydian. E flat. Good lick, common lick. So from the E flat, E diminished. That kind of thing. Just walking up that chromatic into the 3rd, up to the 5th. Okay, number 9. Again with the B flat. Oh, this time I'm playing that B flat structure, the B flat 9 structure. then sliding, when I get to the C, we're sliding down to B. So this is the diminished, the B flat diminished. So if we're on a B flat 7, what we can think B diminished. This isn't the E diminished, this isn't that. This is if you're on a B flat dominant chord and you want to create a flat 9 sound, we take the B, also D, F, or A flat diminished 7th arpeggio over the B flat. So that's what's happening here. There's the 9 arpeggio into a B, D, diminished. The diminished that fits B flat 7. And then we go into an E flat to an E diminished. And end with the cliche lick, except this time on B flat, instead of going down and up into it, it's descending into it, kind of backwards. Alright. Yeah. There it is. Next, flat 9 on the B flat, again, diminished sound. But then also using, if you just use the B diminished triad, the one thing it lacks is the root, the B flat. So it's kind of good to practice when you're playing it. Play that B diminished arpeggio, but include the B flat as well. And there's all sorts of, I have a video, some more videos on that, but let me get through this here. So for E flat, oh, wrong one. Alright, and then now we're going down a B flat augmented. This is the only one that's really out, using anything kind of outish out. We're using the sharp 5 and flat 9. So it's B flat augmented. And then on the E flat, now finally here's the A flat. This little A flat 7 lick right into the F, the 5th of B flat. There's a super classic lick. The 5th of B flat, the sus4, we're approaching the D, outlining, and we end up on the major 3rd. Yeah. Number 11. Just approaching the 3rd of the B flat. And then that drops us right to the major 3rd of B flat and to E diminished, and then end on the major 3rd of B. Number 12, a little bit of an interval leap here. Another variation on the Parker lick. On the E flat tetrachord. Now this is cool. On the E minor tetrachord, we're playing the F sharp, G flat tetrachord. That's just relative major. So in other words, if we had an A minor, right, you would play, so relative major to A minor is C major. So over the A minor, you'd play a C major tetrachord, C, D, E, G. That kind of thing. So that's all we're doing here, is we're playing E flat tetrachord over the E flat, and then when it goes to E flat minor, we just go up to the relative major of E flat minor, which is up minor 3rd. That's pretty easy to remember. So E flat, F sharp, or G flat, and then whoops. Now when we go back to B, I'm doing the F tetrachord. That's common on a major chord. You play the tetrachord from the 5th, so that'd be an F over the B. So we get E flat, the relative major of the E flat minor, F tetrachord over the B flat, and it's a turnaround. C, C7, so that would fit like E flat, there we go. Alright, 12, 13, 13, more with the intervals. Right down to the major third of the E flat. Kind of using the bebop scale on E flat. Down to the D flat. Now that's one of the E diminished notes, so you can, from there, you can go into the diminished arpeggio. And back to B flat. So that was here's the E diminished, starting from D flat. And then you're on B flat. And finally, oh yeah, this is a cool lick. Simple, but again, it's the Parker lick right there. Starting out with, then there's the bebop scale worked in as well, but it starts out ascending. Of course, I copied this from, I think, Sonny Stick. And that sets us up for an E flat major 7 to a piece of an E flat minor. And since we're ending on the F sharp, we walk right up to the F, the 5th of, that's a bebop move. We're approaching the F of the B flat. E flat minor. I got through 14 of them. All right, so those are some pretty basic lines, but you hear them a lot, and so again, they're going to work right here. If we have the rhythm changes from the head, from the beginning, B, G, C, F, D minor, G7, C. Here we go, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, E. Like. And so forth. All right. I'm tired. These licks wear me out. All right, cool. Hope you got something from that. Let me know if you have any questions or requests. Next, we'll get to the next step of rhythm changes. I think I've done the bridge, so we got to get to some more advanced stuff on rhythm changes. Anyway, let me know what you think, and happy practicing. And I'll see you next time.